It is Talkin' Trash with Will Nash. I am so excited to have our guest here today. Her name is Zoe Bystrov. Zoe, thank you for being here.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute honor.
Oh my gosh. Well, it means so much to us that you took the time to be here in your very, very, very busy schedule. Now, as many of us can maybe see or hear right now, depending on how you're consuming the podcast, Zoe, you're very young. You're in grade 11.
Yes.
And you are the founder, the brains, the creativity behind Youth For Lake Simcoe, a fantastic organization. We're coming to you from Barrie, Ontario. Share with us what made you want to share your passions with Youth For Lake Simcoe. How did this get started? At what age did you realize that this was important to you?
Yeah, so I guess Youth For Lake Simcoe really just developed and became a thing because of not just me, but also the other group's members' passion and love and dedication for the Lake Simcoe. And we really started to get the idea around the time that I was in 6th grade. There was a lot of conversation about, protecting marine life and the oceans and a lot about plastic pollution. And I was really inspired by this. But I was thinking to myself, if something similar could be implemented behind their own backyard in Lake Simcoe. And I moved here about 7 years ago, and I spent a lot of time outside with my friends and my family. There's a lot of recreational activities which you can do outside on Lake Simcoe. And so when I was outside and hanging out, I noticed that there was so much garbage and recyclable materials being accumulated along Lake Simcoe shoreline. And knowing that there's so many animals that live there, mammals, ducks, geese, fish, etc. It just broke my heart to see Lake Simcoe being negatively impacted like this. So that's when I went and I gathered me and a couple of my other friends who were interested in this topic, and we founded the group Youth For Lake Simcoe. And in fact, we have just hit our 100th cleanup, which is a very big milestone. And we took the time during our cleanup just to ask the question, what does Lake Simcoe mean to you? And I was really happy by the responses that our group gave. I mean, some were saying that, it's a place for recreational activities. It's a place where they've been growing up all their life. And I can resonate with that because despite being originally born in Toronto, I took my first steps on Lake Simcoe. So that kind of resonated with me because me and the other group members, we all have that special connection towards the lake, and we want to keep it healthy for future generations.
Well, and you know what? You raise a very good point. The question of what does Lake Simcoe mean to me? Because it does mean so many things to so many people in our community, whether they live here in the area or whether maybe they're traveling to Kempen Fest in the summer, which draws people from all over Ontario and beyond. And it really leaves that impact, especially because we're in such a community-focused community,
we are, yes. And Lake Simcoe, it's such a big watershed. It's a part of the Atlantic Ocean watershed, and there's so many municipalities, 7 actually, in fact, including Barrie here, who use the Lake Simcoe water as their drinking water. So in reality, a bottle might be thrown into its watershed, but it is going to decompose into small microplastics over time, and those microplastics are going to go inside your drinking water. And that's why we're really advocating to clean up Lake Simcoe and its watershed to make sure that the Lake Simcoe's drinking water is not just safe for us, but also for the animals that live within it, and that it's safe and preserved for future generations to come.
Now, you're obviously doing so much, you and your founded group, Youth For Lake Simcoe, and you can find you on social media.
Yes, we love posting photos and videos of our cleanups. We do cleanup diaries regularly. This is kind of a compacted showcase of what we found during our cleanups and how much we collected, and it kind of showcases how cleanup usually goes. And we also do a lot of I practice photography, wildlife photography specifically, and so I love going during the summertime and even during the migratory season just to see all the different wildlife that come to Lake Simcoe. And I love posting them either through photos and also through cute little videos on Twitter. So I suggest everyone, if you want to get a little glimpse about Lake Simcoe and what we do as a group, definitely check out our Twitter and social medias.
Now, beyond all that you're doing, I think that what's really important about having you here today on Talkin' Trash is to just let anyone who's listening or anyone who's watching this right now, if that's you right now at home or on the go, what can they do? What can each individual do to continue to preserve Lake Simcoe, to continue to, support the wildlife that maybe in some cases could be at the risk of being endangered? Like, what
Yeah.
can I do? What can someone who's watching this right now do?
Well, I mean, I guess there's a whole bunch of answers to respond to this, Will. When it comes to Lake Simcoe in general and preserving it in general, people, they can do their own cleanups. Even like 10 minutes will do a great difference in like a local wooded area or even on Lake Simcoe shoreline. People can also practice plogging, which is kind of jogging, running, or walking while picking up garbage at the same time. It's one of my personal favorite things to do. I just go with my friends or with my family, with my dog, and I just pick up garbage that I see along the way.
It's like a 2-for-1. You get your exercise in, and you maintain and preserve the wildlife, and you're doing good for all aspects.
Yeah, that's actually what I say to my group members when we're getting tired after a cleanup. I say, guys, we didn't just do a cleanup, we did trash aerobics.
I love it. Trash aerobics.
Yes, trash aerobics. But I guess also in the sense of the whole wildlife, there is something that people can do. I just recently had an experience just observing, again, the wildlife that are on Lake Simcoe. And I noticed that compared to other years previously that I've been here in Barrie, there are a lot more injured wildlife. And a couple examples, there was a mallard who had a twisted foot. He could still fly and everything, but just his foot was kind of deformed in a sense.
And it's so sad to see,
It's
right?
so sad to see. There was also a cormorant with a fish hook inside its head, which was also very upsetting, and also a mallard which showed some signs of angel wing syndrome, which is a disease which is caused by a deficiency in nutrients, but also if the duck is fed too much bread and other human foods. So I would say on that level, advocating for just preserving wildlife in general is something that everyone can do. And by doing that, one of the big things is if you're in a local park or you're stopping by Lake Simcoe, right? You see some mallards and you want to feed them. Please do not feed them bread because it will, unfortunately, it can definitely contribute to that disease. And that disease does lead the birds to lose their ability to fly and they cannot migrate, and it's very unfortunate. So yes, definitely do not feed the ducks bread. There are other foods you can feed them, such as oats and other certified duck geese foods, which you can find in local stores. But I would say, yeah, in general, people, they can do their part by even just talking.
Oh,
Get
just
out there
have a
and promote Lake
conversation, right?
Simcoe. Exactly.
Hashtag I love Lake Simcoe and
That
check
is
out your social
that's
media
exactly true,
followings
yes.
too, right? One of the other things that's obviously important is advocating for wildlife. We've been talking about that a little bit as well. And you mentioned about some of the statuses of some of the animals that are there as well too, right?
Yeah.
How can we keep the habitat safe?
Well, I would say definitely one of the big things to consider is that the Lake Simcoe is their habitat. And so whatever's happening to the Lake Simcoe is going to affect them. And I've even seen in recent years in the Rotary Island, that's one of my favorite places to go and to see, herons and other ducks and migratory species, is that it has been deteriorating more and more. And so usually it drains throughout the fall season. At some point we saw a mattress and a blanket inside the water.
Oh.
And even some, there are pipes sticking out from the water. There's also this weird metal thing sticking out of it, which is obviously not safe to the ducks because they don't know what this is. They cannot process what that little mattress is, right? They're like, oh, it's just like some thing sticking out in the water. Conducting cleanups is one of the big things that you can do because whatever happens to Lake Simcoe, it will not just impact us, it'll also impact the wildlife.
Yes.
So I would say do cleanups, do plogging, but also just promote the importance of Lake Simcoe to your family members and friends. That's another big thing you can do. And if you ever do see a injured animal on Lake Simcoe, there are resources available. We're very fortunate to have a lot of sanctuaries, a lot of rehabilitation centers around us in our region, in the Simcoe region, where you can call them up, you can report that, hey, I've seen this injured bird or I've seen this injured animal. You can explain the situation, and if there's a way how to help the animal, they will be able to assist you in bringing that animal back into a healthier state.
No, that's fantastic. And I think that another thing that even if maybe in your schedule, it doesn't allow for you to spend that time down at Lake Simcoe, because everyone has, work and family obligations. Sometimes it's even just going down on your own, taking that mental health break, taking a photo and sharing that amongst your social media, just telling, everyone that you know how much you love Lake Simcoe. And if people want to reach out to you directly, Zoe, at Youth for Lake Simcoe, what I know you're on social media, but could you give us the handle? Can you give us the information with that so that if somebody wants to look you up today, where would they find you?
Yeah, so at the moment we are right now on Twitter/X at Youth For Simcoe. That's our main social media at the moment. We are looking into making a website, which is hopefully going to be coming soon. So that'll also provide a lot more information on how to contact us. But the best way to reach us at the moment is by email. It's at youthforlakesimcoe@bell.net. And so if anyone is open to join the Youth For Lake Simcoe group, we're happy to have them. Anyone from, a young kid up until like people who are in their 50s and 60s, anyone can really join the group because, anyone can participate, anyone can make a positive difference for our environment. So I definitely suggest that if anyone's interested to contact us and start making their difference.
You should do that. And you know what? I'll tell you, the next time I see you at an event, at a cleanup, and I know I'll see you at a few this year, we're going to get together in a reel, in a TikTok. We're going to splatter all over Talking Trash and Busch Systems just so that, we're making sure we're everywhere together too.
Oh yes, of course. I love that.
Zoe, thank you so much. Youth For Lake Simcoe joining us today, Talking Trash with Will Nash. Thank you so much for watching and for listening.